Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Designated Pundits. It's Major League Soccer Week 3, and we're here with the best picks and predictions for the weekend. And I hope you guys have all been enjoying Major League Soccer. Been a great season through 2 match days. I'm Bob here today with Scott, and we're bringing you the best of week 3. We are talking about, I believe it's 9 of the 14 games. That Revs Houston game is not going to be happening this weekend. And Scott, I do want to run through the first 4 games that we're not going to be talking about, but how you doing today?
I'm really good. It's nice to get back into the swing of this. You know what I mean? Talking about the games, watching the games. It just feels good. Feels good. How are you doing?
Not bad. It is raining, really bad rainstorms this week, and it's going to be 70 next weekend after just dumping about 2.5 feet of snow last weekend. So it's spring in New Jersey. That's exactly how we're approaching this. So the 4 games we're not going to talk about are actually some pretty high value games. The Colorado Rapids versus the LA Galaxy. For me, I'm just staying away because there's a ton of volatility there. I loved what Galaxy did last week. I'm going to be back on them when they're at home. Against Rapids away, there's just too much, right?
Yeah, that was the exact same reasoning for me. There's too much volatility in that game. I think the Galaxy are definitely going to be better this year than they were last season. That's not a hard ask, but
no.
The Colorado Rapids are a really big unknown. Are they the team that beat Portland? Are they the team that lost the week before? Are they good? Are they not good? Did they beat Portland because Portland is bad? Don't know yet.
The next 2 were just an odds game. LAFC versus FC Dallas. I can't pick a play here because I think LA Galaxy is going to win, and there's just nothing I can compare to get a plus money bet that's anywhere near useful. That is what our goal here is, trying to break even on some of our plays. And, I wanted LAFC plus 1.5, but Dallas doesn't usually lose by 2 or more. So just nothing again. Couldn't find a number.
Yeah, exactly the same. I was looking into player props for this one. I thought, maybe look at shot volume because LAFC generates quite a lot of chances. But again, same thing that you're talking about. FC Dallas actually doesn't concede that many chances. The defense is pretty good. So while you could get something like Denny Bwanga to have 3 or more shots on target at plus money, I didn't feel like that was really the right price or for the risk.
Absolutely. Portland hosts Vancouver Whitecaps, and we like the away team, but not enough to overcome, everything. I think Vancouver is going to be on a slight downswing this season. We saw that at the end of last year. Portland Timbers, though, without DaCosta, we can't bet on them. And then FC Cincinnati, kind of the same thing without Evander, although we still think they're going to beat the heck out of Toronto. The numbers, the odds just aren't making sense for us.
Exactly. The numbers are just not quite right. And it just, we need a little more information on these teams too before we can maybe pull something really deep out of the sports book.
Last week was a bit of a down week for the show. We lost 1.91 units on 19 wagers. I still found myself in the green for the second straight week, plus 0.86 units. Deon, first time ever on the show, 2 straight winning weeks. Round that out for the season, and we are 17 and 19, but we're plus 2.99 units. This is what happens when you get these big money plays. You only need a few to cover. So while we're under 500 in the picks, we're over 2.99, almost 3 units in the plus on the season. Let's get into some soccer now. NYCFC, they have a win and a draw in the young season. Orlando, they've dropped 2. This game is Saturday, the 7th at 2:30. It's one of the matinees here. And Vegas sees this as an NYCFC normal home match. Nothing funny going on. NYCFC minus money, but nearing that minus 120 that you'll find on like a standard match. Orlando City, if you like them, 3-1 on your money, plus 300. And Vegas thinks that there's going to be a higher goal total. NYCFC scoring twice, Orlando scoring once. There are 2 official plays. I don't have either. Scott, do you agree with the way the odds look for this match?
In some ways, yes. In some ways, no. I actually think that the sportsbook's been a little optimistic on the goal totals. NYCFC's defense is pretty good, and their offense is missing their star striker still. So I don't see NYCFC necessarily having this huge offensive explosion. And I think they need to keep it. I think they need to keep it pretty tight. Orlando City has offensive talent, but their defense is not very good. On the road, I don't see Orlando necessarily being the team to drive up the score all by themselves. And so I agree with the sportsbook. I think NYCFC is the team to win this, but I actually think there's a really good chance that the scoreline stays lower. And so that was my pick. I just picked NYCFC to win straight up. I got it before the odds moved a little bit, so I got a minus 125. Alex has added an over 1.5 to this, which I think is reasonable, but I did not want to take a -1 unit if NYCFC wins this 1-0, which is, I think, is really, really possible.
I think it's really possible too. I stayed away. There are 2 official plays. NYCFC -125 for him, but on the show doc -130, and Alex NYCFC in over 1.5 goals at +102. You get 27 cents in your favor if you do take the goal total as well. Next one, this is going to be an interesting match. DC United, 1 win, 1 loss. Inter Miami, 1 win, 1 loss. This one is 4:30 at Audi Field in DC. Should be an interesting play all around. DC United had a very tough 2025, and Inter Miami has just been scoring in bunches. I know there are 3 official plays, and they're all pretty similar on this match. We're all liking DC United.
Yeah, totally, absolutely. We love DC United to not win this game. No,
Please elaborate.
Look, we all took, I think, Miami, and it's just because if you can get decent odds on Miami to win games or score goals, then you should probably take those. And DC United has not given us enough information to say that, yes, you should trust DC United to win this game or trust DC United to keep the scores really, really low. Yes, they did keep the scores low against Philadelphia and Austin, but that Philadelphia offense, did that look really, really great to you? It didn't look that great to me.
No, I don't think that they have really anything.
Yeah, and that Austin team, same thing. They look like a project that's still going. Some weeks it'll work and some weeks it won't work. Against DC, it worked to the tune of 1-0. So yeah, favor Inter Miami -145 to take them straight up. DC +320 at home. That's tough. I paired Miami and a little over 1.5, just 2 goals. DC has done well to keep scores low. They've only conceded 1 goal so far, just 2 games. Both offenses, I don't think, are really anything special, but just on the off chance that it's kind of a lower scoring game, I just went with an over 1.5. It's a -110 odds.
And I would just like to clarify, you don't think either offense that DC's faced so far has been very good. One of these offenses is very good, and it's the Inter Miami side. You'll see here the graphics, the way I have it set up, it looks like 320. That's for home or the draw. Either way you like it there for DC United or a draw play. We're not even looking at that number. Inter Miami, they started out with a dud, but they beat Orlando 4-2 last weekend, scoring 4 unanswered second half goals. It's looking more like their 3-0 defeat at the hands of LAFC is more reflective on the play of LAFC, who's like world beaters this year, which is kind of what we expected. Inter Miami's last 10 matches going back to last season, they've outscored their opponents 29-7, averaging 2.9 goals per match, and that includes the playoffs where you would expect them to have faced better defensive opponents. Miami should win this weekend. And Miami saw a total of over 2.5 goals, 83% of the time in 2025. I think we're looking at that. This game script is not going to be dependent on DC United. It's going to be decided by Lionel Messi and Inter Miami. So we have 3 official plays, 2 on Inter Miami over 2.5 at plus 120, and 1 on Inter Miami over 1.5 at 115. Those odds have moved. That's why it looks like we have the same bet. We do not. His is minus 110 for the over on 1.5 goals.
I think that one just pulled badly from the dot because my next pick is a plus 115. So that's a big coincidence. So I think that's just a little programming right there, but that's fine.
All right. Well, then United, they are hapless. 2 losses, haven't scored a goal yet this season. They face your RSL, who have 1 win and 1 loss. We both have plays that are quite different, but let's take a look first at what the bookmakers think. Atlanta United is almost even money to win, while RSL is plus 220. You get $2.20 on every buck you put down to bet on them. Over under 2.5 goals, minus 148. So yeah, we're expecting a lot of goals here too. I don't expect a lot of goals. Do you expect a lot of goals?
I don't expect a lot of goals. And I think this is really interesting. I think RSL is at plus 220 on the away odds because of the injuries and availability to key players. Victor Olatunji has been out with an eye injury. Pablo Mastroeni shared in the last post-game press conference that the doctors said that he can't run, so he hasn't even been running. He had an appointment this week, probably won't play. Diego Luna has been out with a knee injury. He has been running, but who knows if he will really be able to play this week or if how many minutes he would be able to go. For sure, RSL is not going to take big risks with him in a World Cup year when he's really trying to get onto that team. They're not going to risk a big injury. So this is a team that's light on offensive push, and Atlanta is not scoring goals. So I think the over under is way off here. But I'm making a pick that totally ignores all of that.
I notice you're talking a lot about RSL's availability issues, but here's the fact. They played 17 regular season away games last year and scored 15 goals in those 17 games.
They also
at full health. I don't like them here anyway. To
they
find
also
the back of the
started
net.
Willie Agata, and they didn't have a striker last year. That was a big part of it, and that is a truth in this game too.
2 goals this season, and one of them is a player who tore his Achilles. Sorry,
Achilles.
It's just not looking good. Can Atlanta and RSL combine to put together a good match of soccer? I don't think so. Is it enough to believe in the under 2.5 goals? Yes, plus 120 on under 2. I don't see any way 3 goals go down in this match unless Atlanta really, really turns things around. To add to that, I guess the weather is not going to factor. They're in a dome, so it's not looking good for Atlanta.
I'm not worried about
117 goals per game in 2025 against the team who scored under 1 goal per game on the road. Take the under.
Yeah, take the under. The thing is, you really have a mostly complete RSL defense that will be tough to score against. Rafa Cabral is one of the better keepers in the league. And you have an Atlanta team that is still trying to figure it out. And barring them doing a lot of work in this week to figuring it out, it's just tough. I'm not taking any sort of result on this game. I'm actually taking corners. RSL has seen over 12 or more corners in both of their games so far. Atlanta has beaten this over 10.5 corners in one of their 2 games. A big part of that is that the way RSL plays defense, they allow shots on the keeper and they expect him to make saves. That is partially something that he is asking them to do. Go ahead and play brave and trust me to make saves. And then RSL is a very vertical team, which means they are going to create chances. But they, like we talked about, they don't have the talent or that veteran presence up front to put those away. So I think what you're going to see is a lot of shots on both sides that are into the keeper, testing the keeper maybe, but not quite good enough to beat the keeper. And so you're going to give up a lot of corners.
Like that play. 2 official plays here, under 2.5 goals at plus 120 and over 10.5 corners at plus 115. Mikis is in the chat saying 2-2 is my guess. Well, that's got to be great money for that one. Look at the odds. Go check your local sports book and let us know. Next up, Charlotte FC. They host Austin FC. Charlotte has a draw and a loss, while Austin has a win and a draw so far this season. Charlotte started out with 2 away games, which is kind of leading me a certain way. Looking at the sportsbook here, Charlotte's just about a little better than even money at home. And I think that that's going to be coming in as a value. But the sportsbook has no idea if this is going to go over or under 2.5 goals. I don't really know that either.
No, we don't. Charlotte has not looked good in their game so far. The midfield has been largely ineffective. The offense really looks a little disjointed to me. Wilfried Zaha doesn't look like he's on the same page with his teammates, and he looks really frustrated. And I know some of that is like Wilfried Zaha gets fouled a lot, but also he looks really frustrated with like any contact, just little touches, defenders just, little nice hand on the back. Hey, buddy, I'm here. Don't step on me. And he's really upset about that. So, something there, not quite right. And the defense too is all out of shape, all out of sorts. They're giving away goals that they shouldn't and wouldn't normally give away. Austin, on the other hand, like I mentioned before, they're a project. They've got a new shape, a new formation, a new coach. For me, not
Same
enough
coach, right?
information. No. Well, it depends on when they made the change, but Senior Wolf is gone. So not enough information for me.
All right. I am going to take Charlotte. I think that is enough information for me, and it really has to do with home away splits. Charlotte last year, 13 wins, 1 draw, 3 losses the entire season. Austin, 6 wins, 1 draw, 10 losses. Actually pretty good on the road, avoiding those draws and getting that extra 2 points. But they finished 1-5 on the road, which includes their playoff elimination. These two teams last met in July 2024. They don't know each other very well. So I'm going to let the historical data kind of, take us and tell us the story here. On the ball side, Charlotte, they haven't really clicked on offense. You're right. But they play their next 5 matches at home. That's going to help them get right. And as for Zaha, I do like some Austin FC players, maybe to pick up a card. If you really want to get deep in the weeds there, Heinzike, Biro, or Pereira are all, front runners to get a yellow, or I think he even Heinzike got 2 reds last year. Could be something like that. I think this is going to be more frustrating for Austin than it is for Charlotte. Taking Charlotte straight up on the win. Alex is taking Charlotte straight up on the win. Couldn't be here tonight at plus 105. Moving on now, the Columbus Crew, they host the Chicago Fire. Columbus Crew, they're going to think that they're off to a disappointing start, 1 draw and 1 loss, while the Fire have 1 win and 1 draw. This is a 7:30 match at lower.com field. And if you look at the odds, it's like they ignored the teams on the bet slip and just kind of put generic odds that you might see for any MLS game. The one thing that I have to say, we're favoring the over here, which usually plays towards the home side. There is one official play, that is you on the Columbus Crew, and I absolutely love this play.
I'm taking Chicago to win either half. Not necessarily the whole game, although I do think there's a really good chance they win this game outright. But I think Chicago wins at least one of the halves here. That's a plus 100 play. Look, I agree. I think the odds are very just generic. Home team favored, away team not favored odds that don't really make a lot of sense because Columbus Crew is not playing in a way that warrants that. Chicago is on the up. They are playing reasonably well, barring 1/2 of a game that they fell apart in. I don't know why Columbus should be so unfavored in this, or why Chicago, should be so unfavored in this game.
Absolutely. And getting in the chat, there's some picks here. Both teams to score. I assume that's what it is. Both teams to score. Crew v Fire. I like that play too. I like the way you approach the Chicago either half. I know a lot of people will be very proud. That is a true handicapper's bet in all the best ways. The one thing I do want to keep an eye out here for is the availability on the fullbacks for Chicago. because Gutman and Jonathan Dean both look like they're going to miss this match. I'm not sure if we know for sure on a Thursday night, but it's looking that way. I mean, this could be like a 3 center back formation that Chicago puts out, and I'm not really sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet. We're going to have to really keep a good eye on what happens in this match, but we do have some fullbacks out missing for Chicago. There is going to be one official play here, Chicago either half at even money. Moving on now, the Philadelphia Union hosts the San Jose Earthquakes. And if I told you at this time last year that Philadelphia would be the 0-2 team and the Earthquakes would be the 2-0 team, you might laugh. This one is 7:30 at Subaru Park. Some really interesting results here. However, Philadelphia is a heavy home favorite. Do you agree with that play, Scott?
Not based off anything that Philadelphia has done this year. I don't. San Jose has looked okay. Actually, in some ways, they've looked pretty good, but they've played really bad teams so far. So I wouldn't recommend going all in on the Quakes just yet. But yeah, I agree. I don't think these odds necessarily reflect what we have seen out of these teams.
The Union have a 1-0 loss to DC United and a 2-1 loss to NYCFC. One of those we expect to be somewhat of a playoff team this season. They've also accumulated a red card in each of the 2 matches that they've had. The first game, it was Alado yelling at the ref, getting in an argument and getting a straight red. Still haven't found out what he said. Still want to know what he said. And then the second one was Macania, who's going to miss this game. Now, Macania was supposed to be the center back to replace Glesnes. Now he's suspended. That's not great. My play here includes goals, a lot of goals, and then some more goals. Timo Werner played 15 minutes. He already made his debut here for San Jose. And I think both teams are going to score. I think we're going to see over 2.5 goals. And I'm getting that at -117. Pretty good money for what it's worth. I think that this could be a slop fest. This is not the Philadelphia team that we've seen in the past. I think that they are going to concede at least once. Even if they get a 2-1 win, 2-2 draw, any of those are going to be in play. Mikey says this game has trap written all over it. Yeah, it kind of does. For both teams, though, right? Like San Jose, they're 2-0. They're like, we're playing these scrubs. It's going to be a trap game, too. These interconference games, again, early this season, interconference stuff going on. Double chance San Jose for plus money. Looks like a solid pick. I do agree, but there's so many question marks here. Alado's back with Damiani. Maybe Philadelphia finds the back of the net a couple times. They do have Andre Blake, better goalkeeper. This is going to be a really, really interesting game. It's going to be cold. It's going to be rainy. It's going to be interesting. One official play, both teams to score over 2.5 is going to be our official play. Moving on now. Another good team versus a bad team as Sporting KC. They host San Diego FC. This one is going to be Saturday, 8:30, Children's Mercy Park. San Diego FC -130. They are heavy road dogs, or road favorites, actually. Sporting KC is the home dogs at +280. Again, we're looking for value, but you can't just take San Diego FC at -130. You got to pick something. You got to pick a dance partner.
You do. You gotta find a little dance partner in this one. I like what you have done with this, you and Alex. San Diego definitely heavily favored on this. The thing about Sporting Kansas City is, like, at home, if they come out and play with just intensity, right? Not quality, but intensity, they can turn this game into something that's kind of a dog fight that is hard to play against, that is choppy, that is that really breaks up San Diego's rhythm. And they could keep the score kind of close for a long time. And so I like what you guys have done, because you guys have found a dance partner that isn't overly ambitious.
It's not overly ambitious. It's over 1.5 goals. And I don't think we're really asking too much here. Sporting KC, they scored twice in a draw last week hosting Columbus Crew. That's kind of an achievement, although, Columbus Crew, maybe not what they were in years past. It's still, a good sign for them. San Diego comparatively is just on another level. 5-0 win, 2-0 win. But they played 2 pretty weak opponents. SKC might actually be the toughest team San Diego's faced so far this season, but I still don't think that matters. If they could take a 2-0, 2-1 win, that's going to be enough. I just need to avoid a 1-0 San Diego. San Diego FC, they've hit over 1.5 goals in 94% of their away matches in 2025. Now that's the total, not just the team total. Total goals almost every single time they get on the field. If you want to get fancy, Ingvartsen's been off to a hot start, 2 goals, 2 assists in 2026. I'd look at any score, 2 score and assist, anything over even money. I'd really, really like him this week versus SKC. SKC, they'll be going to go with Pulse Camp this week. Shua picked up an injury in net. And looking at the roster, like this back line is one of the grossest I've seen in Major League Soccer a long time. They've been holding it together, and that's due to, a little bit of youth, maybe a little excitement to start the season. I think it's going to fall apart. San Diego over 1.5, -104 official play. Heading now to one of the more controversial matches of the week. Nashville SC hosting Minnesota United. Nashville SC, they've kind of revamped this offense, brought in a couple new guys. Warren Madrigal on the wing, Espinoza on the wing. Kind of looked more like a 4-2-4 kind of thing than what they were trotting out last year. Minnesota United, they've abandoned the 5-man back line, park the bus kind of strategy, and are a bit of a wild card. I think that's a good thing for soccer. We talked about a lot of the unders playing and a lot of away teams not scoring. Well, every preview, we might go a 5-man back line this year. We might go a 5-man back. Minnesota's moving in the right direction, getting more offensive. Nashville SC is huge favorites, -145 at home. In Minnesota United, you can make a ton of money if you make a pro Minnesota United play. That is what I did. But before we talk about my specific play, Scott, what is your bearing on this match?
Well, I just looking at the odds, I think that the bookmakers are really caught up in who Nashville was last season, which was a team with a massive, massive home advantage. They were really, really good at home, and they were actually not that great on the road. And I think they're expecting that to continue. It could. It definitely could. That is a real possibility. Nashville does have the offensive weapons to get out in front, and if Minnesota wants to get into a shootout, that might be something they cannot win. Sam Surridge and Hani Mukhtar and Christian Espinoza and Warren Madrigal. Like, there is a lot of talent that Minnesota might not be able to keep up with if it turns into a shootout. But Minnesota, on the other hand, is not necessarily leaking goals at an alarming rate, even though they've gone to that back four.
Absolutely. A lot of Nashville's perception is that, there's some world beaters. They beat up on who, like Ottawa. They're beating up on in
they beat up on Ottawa. And who did they play that first week? I should remember this, but
it was
New England
competitive. Yeah, it was New England.
They put up 4 on New England, but Minnesota's a lot. I think Minnesota's back line's a lot better than New England, and so Nashville's got offensive weapons, but is Nashville going to score 5 in this game? I don't think so.
No, they're not, and they just got blanked by Dallas at home last week. Nashville might be one of the best offenses in MLS, but I've been getting attacked for saying to get more offensive somewhere, you got to take that energy, you got to take those resources from somewhere else on the field. We don't know what they're going to look like either, right? Minnesota United was a very, very good team. They still have Yeboah. They have, they brought Chancalay in, Longwane. They have a good squad here. And at plus 100 for the double chance, I think that we're really looking at a really good pick here. Corcoran, he's going to be suspended for this match. Got a red card last week. Sam Surridge is someone to watch out for because he missed last game with an illness. We don't know how much he's practiced, if he's going to be back to 100%. That could throw kind of a wrench in the plans here. This is not a full faith Minnesota bet by any means. I just don't think the numbers on the screen right here reflect any sort of reality. Minnesota United on the double chance at plus 100. I was really liking the draw. I think it's going to be like a 1-1, 2-2 game to it. But going another way completely, Minnesota double chance at plus 100 is the official play.
Just before we leave this, I just want to point out too, there's a chance because this will be in Nashville, a little more temperate climate than Minnesota. We could see the debut for James Rodriguez. And if it's close at the end of the game, that could be a very impactful, substitution.
Yeah, more than the sub, more energy, life. You can just get into the game late.
Little bit of quality in those toes as well.
If I'm betting Nashville, I'm gonna be with my finger on the cash out button.
You think? Yeah, you think so? I think it depends on
90 minutes. If you're up, you have a winning bet, and Minnesota comes on to get that draw.
I think it's on Nashville to put up goals early and kind of put the game out of reach. If that game is really close late, I think that is a bad recipe for Nashville.
Let's get to a game now that you thought you had a clear bearing on, and I have no idea. St. Louis City, they have a draw and a loss this season. Sounders have a win and a loss. I picked Sounders last week. Did not work out so well for me. The Seattle Sounders are actually big favorites here. Plus 110 as the road team. St. Louis City, 2-1 if you like them to win. And over under 2.5 goals. Looks like there's going to be goals in this one. Is Seattle... They're going to have to score twice if they're going to take this match. Yes.
Are they?
No.
I'm not sure they will have to score twice, but I'm okay if they do. I think that Seattle actually played fairly well on the road in Salt Lake, and I think that Salt Lake is a pretty good analogy for St. Louis. They play similar systems, and I think they have similar talent levels across most of the positions on the field. And I think Schmetzer is a good enough coach to learn something from that game. And he did make adjustments in that game that made the game close and difficult in the closing stages. Seattle has the veteran presence and quality to be good offensively and defensively. And then, just most of all, looking at the St. Louis City team, their underlying numbers this year suggest they take a lot of shots, but they don't generate a high amount of XG, right? They're not really great shots, and they're not great finishers. And that's more of what I expect. I think that St. Louis City is going to give Seattle a game, but not be able to put it away. So I'm taking a Seattle double chance. I think they learn from their experience in Salt Lake playing a very, very similar system. They figure out how to keep St. Louis City's wing backs from running the games out in the wide spaces. They dominate the midfield. And then I don't think Seattle necessarily puts up a whole bunch of goals either, because Roman Berkey is still a really good keeper, and that St. Louis defense is not necessarily super porous. So a Seattle double chance and under 3.5, just a little dance partner to keep the odds somewhat respectable, minus 135.
This is a game that I avoided with prejudice. I want no part of this. See someone in the chat saying draw no bet Seattle, but yeah, you'd get like
it's like minus
290, something like that on it.
It's terrible.
For Seattle, you're missing Morris, you're missing De La Vega. Rothrock picked up a knock on his foot. I would assume he doesn't go in this one. And then Mungo is questionable too. So you want Osez de Rosario, Rusnak, Ferreira. It's looking a little thin for me all over the fields for the Sounders, but St. Louis has their issues too. Hartle just missed the last week with the birth of a child. I think he should be back. Fall, Ostrak, Totlin, Leuven, all supposedly out for this one. St. Louis, man, they probably generate a lot of that XG in that first game against Charlotte, where you had Wallum with the ball at his feet running all up and down the field. They don't have a finisher, you're right. I just can't get on board with an away play for Seattle in this one. Going right back here, draw no bet Seattle minus 160 local sportsbook. Bam, hit it. That would be my favored play. As it stands, Seattle double chance and under 3.5 goals. You're taking a pretty high total, and St. Louis City doesn't hit that very much. I do like the way you went about it, minus 135.
If they score 4 goals, you know what? I'll sacrifice that play for the entertainment value, I guess.
Fair enough. Talk about entertainment value. My Red Bulls 2-0. They host CF Montreal 0-2. This one is going to be Sunday at 4:30 Sports Illustrated Park. And this is going to be like a great matchup. It's going to be, 65 and sunny at kickoff. It's going to be an absolutely great time. I think Red Bull should be heavily favorited in this one. Minus 210 is not a number I like. I do not like that whatsoever. Montreal plus 470. If you like them, that is huge favorite towards Red Bull. And look, I love this squad. They are my team. I've watched a lot of them, but it's a young squad. Weird things happen with young teams sometimes. Should Montreal be plus 470? Absolutely not. Should Red Bull be minus 210 until July? In no matches. I need to see a lot more film of this team. I think Red Bull's going to go out, punch him in the mouth early, but I can't bet on anything here. If anything, I'd be looking at props, player props. I can't even touch totals after what they scored 1 goal against New England. What am I going to do with that?
Yeah, exactly. And you're right. This is a young team and weird things happen, and they could, be at home and think, yeah, we should win this game, and then lay an egg, because that's what young players do. So I kind of went into the player prop route. But I am picking a young player who I think will continue to perform well because I think that he is in the right environment to do so. I'm looking at Julian Hall, and I'm not necessarily asking him to score a goal or something like that, even though he is doing that right now. I'm looking at him to have 2 or more shots on target. I don't think that is a super high bar for him to clear against a Montreal team that is conceding a lot. And Julian Hall obviously has the trust and favor of his teammates. He has the trust and favor of his coach. And so the way that he is playing, the way that he is, performing the high that he's riding on, I think this is something that he should do. And maybe he doesn't score, and that's fine. Right? He will eventually not score in a game. But 2 or more shots on target, it's plus 105. It's a nice plus odds play to find a way to take something out of this game where New York really should beat Montreal.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the way that we could attack them, and it's definitely through the defense. I mean, Montreal is historically bad. They're not SKC bad, but I think they're going to have a really tough time this season, and they're starting out with a huge number of road games. This should be an easy Red Bull, but I like to see like the player matchups one-on-one. Do you know Brian Vera?
Yeah.
Is he a fullback?
He kind of.
He's been playing as a fullback, and he'll be matched up against Cade Cowell. Is he faster than Cade Cowell?
He is not. And actually, I'll give you the big one. Brian Vera is a large body. He's got a lot of mobility, right? So he can play that fullback position, but he's really like a hybrid fullback, center back, really built for that back 3 kind of system. The weird thing is he doesn't know how to use his size. So sometimes he goes in really hard and he commits a foul. And other times he goes in really softly and he gets bodied off by other players because he is a bad judge of how strong to go into challenges and stuff like that. That doesn't bode well.
No. And look, Cade Cowell's not a great, skillful player with the ball at his feet. He's big, he will run, and he will use his size every way he can. I think that Julian Hall, if he's going to score, is going to be like the most boring walk the ball into the back of the net that you've seen, I also like someone like Emil Forsberg, someone who has that really great touch, who can pull those defenders out of position. I think that that's a likely possibility. Montreal, they've been starting Dagger Dan as a winger. So in the back line on the left side, they're starting this kid, Alexander Gaboglo, on the other side there. And he's going to be paired up against Ruvalcaba, someone who we haven't seen a whole lot from. Ruvalcaba has a lot of energy, but he's interchanging with Emil Forsberg. I talked to someone on Red Bull who thinks that his job isn't to be Cade Cowell progressing the ball up the field, going on these long runs all the time, but just providing a little change of flavor on the left side, kind of adding something no one else has, not necessarily being a mirror image like for like. He's kind of a reclamation project from the Mexican League. And I kind of like what he has going on too in this matchup. There are plus matchups everywhere I look for Red Bull. And on the Red Bull back line, I've started Red Bull backline players in kick base this week. Justin Shea has looked really good. Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy has done really good on right wing. He had a clearance off the line. He headed a ball backwards over the goalpost from point blank range last week. This is going to be a really, really exciting match. There is the possibility that, as the chat says, upset alert. And I'll see, wow, the line shifted since last time. Yeah, a lot of money coming in on Red Bull. A lot of money coming in on Red Bull. If anything, that makes me a little less confident with the pick. But
it can be a bit of a trap. It can be a bit of a trap game if the Red Bulls do not take it seriously.
The trap would be like 0-0. That would be the trap.
The trap would be like not tracking Prince Owusu and he gets like an open chance in front of net.
That could happen too. All right. Week 3 is just around the corner. We have some official plays here. If you're following along on YouTube or on Spotify now with video, you can take a quick screenshot of that to see exactly what we have going. Scott, is there any play that sticks out as your best this week?
I think the one that sticks out as my best is going to be the corners play in Atlanta RSL. The way that the teams are set up, the way that RSL plays, especially allowing shots and then taking shots, but not necessarily having great finishers on the field at the moment. I think that is the kind of thing that really leads to there being a lot of corners in the game. It's a reason that Seattle took so many corners in this last week. I think it was like 10 or 11 corners just by themselves, and RSL took another 5. So yeah, I think that one.
I think Miami in over 2.5 or over 1.5. I mean, they're so good right now, playing in such really great form. However, if I just want to mix it up a little, I think the Philly San Jose Quakes over 2.5, both teams to score. That one's going to be the most fun to watch for. Like, that play could miss by a mile, and I would love every second. Like just knowing that, like, we're watching this game, we're watching new players, an exciting system. It's not meant to be, you know, like a set it and forget. This is one that you're going to want to watch every second of. And we love plays like that. Absolutely too. All right. Week 3 is in the books. Scott, have a great weekend. Good luck, everyone. Thank you for hitting up the chat. Make sure you come back every weekend, every Thursday at 8 p.m. and then every Monday at 8:30 when we bring on special guests from everywhere around the league to discuss what happened, find out where it went right, find out where it went wrong, right here on the Designated Pundits.